Cackling, corrupting and always scheming, here are the best villains on PC. Hysterical fits of sinister laughter, droning monologues, a fondness for brandishing pointy things. When it comes to video game villainy, the best PC antagonists are easy to spot. Not that we're judging the following collection of scoundrels. After all, when it's this much fun to be bad, only the meekest do-gooders would choose the path of the righteous. So grab a top hat, twirl a non-existent moustache, and jot down your most convoluted evil schemes on some post-it notes. Here, in no particular order, are the 10 best villains on PC.
This may be my finest work yet.
Remember kids, bureaucracy is bad. If soul-sucking 10 AM meetings about profit projections weren't enough to make you hate red tape and aggravating admin, the G-Man will make you loathe all officialdom more than a 6-hour Jar Jar spin-off. Half-Life's extra sinister bureaucrat can seemingly control space and time, ending both of Valve's iconic shooters by pulling Gordon Freeman into a mysterious interdimensional void. When he's not popping up for cruelly short extra stalkery cameos, you'll find the Big G enjoying a passive-aggressive monologue with a larynx so creepy he makes Freddy Krueger sound wholesome.
Rise.
He's not wholly wicked though. In the expansion Half-Life Opposing Force, G-Man even saves hero Adrian Shepard's life before accompanying him aboard an Osprey helicopter. We fully expect to get reacquainted with this dastardly office drone when Half-Life 3 comes out sometime in 2076.
Wake up, Mr. Freeman.
Resi's ultimate big bad is the archetypal villain for all ages. Maniacal laugh? Check. More lives than Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees combined? Double check. Betrays everyone he comes into contact with? Triple check. Wears shades indoors like the worst homicidal hipster? All the checks. When it comes to being evil, Albert Wesker is the Babe Ruth of PC villainy. Not that the Great Bambino could conjure up a series of disgustingly squirmy tentacle beasties. Ever since the Spencer Mansion incident in the first Resident Evil, Al has been on a one-man quest to slaughter STARS agents. Whether sicking the tyrant on Jill, skewering poor Oswald E. Spencer like a geriatric kebab, or handing Chris a UFC-style beatdown, Wesker is an outright rotter in every situation. Thankfully, those twin rockets to the face at the end of Resi 5 seem to have put the plotting pest down for good. Wesker, you really were the worst. In another life, Far Cry 3's outlaw antagonist could have been a very effective therapist. Charismatic, talkative, with a keen interest in the human psyche. Give Vaas Montenegro a leather couch and you'd have one kick-ass counsellor. Well, as long as his patients could overlook all the non-stop piracy, brutal murder, and tying people to boulders, then tossing them down sinkholes. Brilliantly portrayed by Better Call Saul's Michael Mando, Vaas is the most compelling villain that Ubisoft has ever created. Whether taunting Jason Brody through the bars of a demeaning cage, or begging for a bullet during a hallucinogenic boss battle, this sleazy Rook Island drug trafficker makes Tony Montana look like Tom Hanks. He's so evil, he even murders poor McLovin during Ubi's promotional live-action Far Cry experience. Vaas, you crossed all the lines.
Chris, you don't think that was funny?
Next to System Shock's megalomaniac AI, 2001's HAL is about as intimidating as a toaster that slightly singes bread. Created by the Tri-Optimum Corporation, SHODAN is essentially Skynet with a face. After the player character hacks SHODAN in the original System Shock, removing her decision guidance and ethical restrictions, this sentient AI goes 7 shades of homicidal, murdering the entire crew of the Citadel station, or worse, turning them into mutants and cyborgs. The evil intelligence takes great delight in mercilessly taunting the player's hacker. Years later, in System Shock 2, the crew of the Von Braun are tricked by the AI's distress signal, setting up another SHODAN slaughtering spree. At first tricking your soldier by impersonating a dead scientist, the AI spends the rest of the sequel spying, taunting, and attempting to murderize you with cyborg cronies. Deliciously voiced by designer Terry Broseus, SHODAN is the most effortlessly hateful AI antagonist around.
Remember that it is my will that guided you here.
Big daddies may be the drilling dastards who make Rapture so wet and woeful, but Andrew Ryan is the dark, squelchy heart of Irrational's masterful shooter. A once idealistic business magnate, Ryan crossed over to the extra damp dark side of the Force once his underwater utopia fell to ruin. With a dystopian take on Atlanta on his putter-holding hands, Ryan unleashed an army of mutated splicers to keep both his enemies and Bioshock's mute lead at bay. Mocking and patronising the voiceless Jack through sinister audio recordings and voiced with a scintillating smugness by Star Trek Deep Space Nine's Armin Shimmerman, Ryan is a gloating jerk. By the time you finally figure out that would you kindly mind control twist and the fact that old Andy is actually Jack's dad, any chance for a touching father-son reunion is scuppered when Ryan orders your hero to bash his brains in with a golf club. We're sure Andrew is putting through the back nine of hell as we speak.
Would you kindly?
When it comes to sociopathic stalking, no entity crosses more personal boundaries with such murderous enthusiasm as everyone's favourite acid-for-blood space serpent. Alien Isolation's lead Xenomorph is so obsessively committed to biting, eviscerating and mutilating Amanda Ripley from every angle possible, it makes the Terminator look like a sci-fi slacker. By the time you reach Isolation's final act, your screams will be loud enough that even the deafest of Martians in the furthest reaches of the galaxy would hear your cowardly wails. Thought one Xeno was bad? Try hiding from two of the slavering beasts at once. Still not fazed by alien double trouble? Here, have all the Xenomorphs. Whether being suffocated by its facehugger siblings or desperately trying to keep the beast from chest-bursting distance with burny things, Isolation's first Xeno is the most aggressive ET you'll ever encounter. You know your villain is all sorts of detestable when they're outrageously evil even by Nazi standards. Whether testing for Aryan purity using a deck of cards or verbally smacking down her daughter, Frau Irene Engel is both a demented general in the Führer's army and a terrible mother. At least the twitchy Nazi tyrant pays for her malevolent ways during Wolfenstein: The New Order and The New Colossus. During a tense scene at Camp Bellica, the aggravating Engel gets most of her face ripped off by Herr Faust, or Mr. Fist. Ouch. After a spot of facial reconstruction, she returns to chop poor Caroline Becker's head off, before later doing the same to Blas, though, thanks to some swift sci-fi surgery, luckily the latter gets over his pesky decapitation. Thankfully, karma serves up delicious just desserts when BJ hatchets her face in two on the Jimmy Carver show. Frau Engel, we're totally not sorry you had to split.
Also wählen Sie weise.
The Ace of Knaves is an instantly hissable mass murderer who somehow you just can't stay mad at. Sure, he gives the bat all of the dark nightmares, but come on, look how much felonious fun he's having. From his electric introduction strapped to a gurney in Arkham Asylum, to that wheezing, splurting entrance in Arkham City, and his hallucinogenic chats with a mentally fractured Bruce in Arkham Knight, Rocksteady's Joker is a villain for all occasions. Despite dying, then being thoroughly flame-grilled out of existence, the Joker lives on as a taunting thorn in Batman's tortured psyche. Whether it's a Matrix-style burly brawl involving dozens of killer clown clones, or a super shooty hallucination as Joker takes out his supervillain rivals with the Jokermobile and a few well-placed bullets, Mark Hamill steals every scene he voices. And really, who can stay grouchy at a face-painted serial killer when all they really want is a bat buddy?
Don't leave me, please! I need you.
Despite having the world's least tasty Toblerone for a head, Silent Hill 2's mute monster can out-evil most video game baddies without ever uttering a word. Representing James Sunderland's desire to be punished for the death of his wife Mary, Pyramid Head makes quite the delinquent debut, brutally assaulting a pair of mannequins while you cower in a cupboard. While he may be less speedy than a reliant Robin with 3 punctures, this blood-soaked butcher is not to be trifled with. If you thought that barely avoiding the psychotic swipes of one smock-wearing executioner was bad, try surviving against a pair of Pyramid Heads. Even when James is facing off against a levitating nemesis who enjoys cuddling his throat with its evil elastic tongue, no Silent Hill monster even comes close to matching the sheer terror Mr. Pointy Cranium elicits every time he's on screen. no villain does pithy put-downs like Aperture Science's generic lifeform and disk operating system.
We both said a lot of things that you're going to regret.
Portal's unhinged artificial intelligence delights in giving Shell a sweaty mental workout while forcing her test subject to solve dimension-altering puzzles inside the enrichment centre. For Portal 2, GLaDOS is given a fleshed-out backstory that actually paints her in a sympathetic light. Sure, she might be a pitiless murder bot in the present, yet in the past, she was once a squishy human called Caroline. Turns out that poor Caroline's consciousness was forcibly uploaded into Aperture's computer systems, stealing her humanity and forcing the AI overseer to a life of running puzzle chambers. Despite a WWE-style babyface turn in the second half of Portal 2, GLaDOS tidings are still in short supply, as the arrogant AI continues to smugly quip at Shell at every opportunity. As devilishly booable whether she's a tyrannical supercomputer or a free-falling Jersey Royal, GLaDOS is the first lady of gaming villainy.
This was a triumph. I'm making a note here. Huge success.
So that concludes our celebration of the greatest, most despicable villains you can find on PC. Please like this video if one of your most beloved baddies made the list, and let us know in the comments if we missed any evildoers you think deserve to make the cut. Plus, if you could quiet your inner villain and subscribe to Logitech G before you break out into a demented cackle, we're sure GLaDOS and co would greatly appreciate it. And if you already are subscribed, don't forget to hit that lovely notification bell to let you know when our next, hopefully less diabolical, video drops.